Hello my friends, my name is Ashlee Falco, and in a recent video I unboxed the brand new xTool M2 with you, and in that video I suggested that this machine was going to be the death of Cricut. Now in that video I got a lot of comments that were really upset with the fact that I suggested that, because a Cricut machine and this laser is vastly different. Now when I suggested that this machine was going to be the death of a Cricut, what I was really referring to was going to be the Cricut Maker, that small thing that's up there. The reason why I think that the xTool M2 is way better than the Cricut Maker is because, have you ever tried to cut fabric or wood on a Cricut Maker? I've tried to cut fabric several times with a Cricut Maker, and it is a pain in the butt. Your stuff tears, you have to have stabilizer, you have to have a specific rotary attachment tool, and it takes forever. With the xTool M2, straight out of the box, I was able to create a fine cut felt flower, rolled flower, within minutes. Something that the Cricut Maker would have never been able to do, first. And second, if I was to miraculously pull off the fact that it did do a cut, that it would have taken forever. So in that essence, yes, I do think that if you are a crafter that loves cutting fabric, getting yourself the xTool M2 may be the thing that you should be looking into. But not only that, yes, you can cut wood on a Cricut Maker. Now, before I became a laser owner, I had a Cricut Maker. One thing that Cricut suggested when they first came out with that machine is that you can cut wood. And that is true. You definitely can. However, I've only tried once, and I will only ever try once. I got a piece of wood, got the knife blade that was like $50. I go to set up my wood cut within the Cricut Maker. I go to press cut, and it says it was gonna take almost 2 hours to cut one small little thing. There is no way that I was gonna wait around for that to get done cutting. So I knew at that point, and this was years ago, I knew at that point that I needed to up my crafting level, which is what brought me into the journey of being a laser owner, is because I wanted to cut really cool things, but I didn't want it to take forever. So in that essence, yes, I would totally suggest the xTool M2 because it can cut wood and it can do it a lot quicker than the Cricut Maker. Now the price. Okay, a lot of people are complaining about the price, and I'm not entirely sure where we're getting the price difference discrepancy here. A Cricut Maker is, yes, cheaper than the xTool M2. However, it's only a couple $100 difference between the two. And if you get this one, you get a lot more for your money. So do I suggest that you spend up so you can create more? Absolutely. The one cool factor about the xTool that I've always loved for every single machine, even if you do not own their machines, you still can play around and use their software. Their software is 100% free. Now there is things that you can use a membership or AI credits and things like that, but the vast majority of their software is free to use, unlike the Cricut, where most of the things that they offer is behind a paywall, not with the xTool software. That has been something that I have praised them about for years. I have been an xTool user of all their machines, besides like two, but at the end of the day, I have been an xTool user for many, many years, and that's the one thing that I love about their company, is the fact that their software is a very good software, and it's free to use unless you want to do some sort of upgrades with AI credits and stuff like that. Just a little FYI, I don't pay for anything. So when you see me do tutorials with the xTool, I am using the free thing. I don't use any type of credits or anything like that. So just to keep that in mind. The other thing is, with this machine, you can upgrade and do an inkjet printer. So this actually has the CMYK inkjet. It is just like an all-in-one inkjet cartridges. There is going to be some pluses, there is going to be some minuses with this. I have separate videos all talking all about the ink printing process. But the one thing that I did want to touch base on is let's just say that you wanted to say, you know what, Ashlee, I'm okay with it taking a long time to cut wood. I'm okay with it taking a long time to, to cut the fabric, and maybe it won't, cut well because it'll save me a couple $100. But the thing here is that if you got that printing head module, you're going to be able to create things like this, like a cake topper. I have two for you. These right here were all print and cut with this machine. You could never do that with the Cricut. That is why I say that this may be the death of a Cricut, because things like this, that is where crafting is going. Crafting is going in that direction. When I started crafting 14 years ago, the thing that was popular then was vinyl and HTV projects. Now it's more so printing on actual items, materials like wood, like acrylic, like metal, all that jazz. That is where the craft industry is headed. And so doing things like this, you only can do with this machine. You can't do it with the Cricut. And that is why I'm saying it may be the death of the Cricut, because of things that we can do with this machine that we can't with the Cricut. Now, it doesn't mean that we can't figure out hacks. The reason why I love crafting so much and why I resonate so much with the crafting community is we are a bunch of MacGyvers. We can figure out how to make anything with a stick and a rock. And I will firmly believe that till the day I die. So yes, I'm sure you can figure out how to print some vinyl, like printable vinyl, cut out your wood on the Cricut Maker and then put it on here. And I'm sure it'll look pretty close to this. But what if I suggested to you that there's just an easier way to get your projects done at a lot faster time? The one thing that I know about me and a lot of my other friends is we just don't have a lot of time to just craft. And I know you might think, Ashlee, you craft for a living. I sure do. But that is like the job. When it comes to personal crafting, I don't have a whole lot of time, just personal craft. So when I'm coming in here and I'm just gonna personally craft for myself, I don't want it to take me hours on end trying to figure out different hacks to get to where I wanna go. I just want to think in my brain, oop, I need to make a quick cake topper. I'm gonna throw it into one machine, get it to print, get it to cut, and be done. No hacks needed. That, my friends, is the joy of crafting to me. So yes, I do love being a MacGyver. I do love finding craft hacks that will help you get to where you want to go. But at the end of the day, if there is an easier way to get where you want to go, that's where I want you to be. You know, I don't want you to overcomplicate things. So for me, when I suggested that the M2 was the death of a Cricut, I really do think that it might be. And it's fine if you don't agree with me, that's okay. But also, something like this, you would never be able to cut on the Cricut Maker. Look at how fine detail this is. This was my very first cut with the xTool M2. And I mean, this right here is absolutely amazing. There's no charring on here or anything. You would have never been able to cut this on the Cricut Maker. This right here is a coaster that you can put your little mug on there, but like you would have never been able to cut that on there. Now, a couple things that I do want to clear up, because there is a lot of questions that I've been getting in all the videos that I have for the xTool M2. One of which is, can it cut acrylic? It's a diode laser. I have a 10 watt. There is going to be other additional wattages that is available. Now, listen, just because you get a higher wattage doesn't mean it therefore then can cut acrylic. The diode lasers can cut some acrylics. Okay, so you're going to be able to do like black, orange, I think royal blue, and I think red. I think those are going to be the four main colors that you can cut with a diode laser. Now, if you're wanting to cut clear acrylic, because that is something a lot of crafters, they come to me and they said, I want to do acrylic projects. I'm like, okay, but I want to do this. And it's like the metallics, the mirrors, the clear acrylics. That's what they're going for. This machine cannot cut those types of acrylic. If you by chance find a video here on the tube that suggests to you that they were able to cut acrylic on a diode machine, I'm going to tell you that they've probably tried 1,000 times to get one decent cut decent in their opinion, and it probably looks like garbage. Don't trust it, okay? Cutting acrylic, I will have to tell you, is a fire hazard. Now, it is a laser, so no matter what you do is a fire hazard, but trying to cut acrylic and fuddling around with that is like you're increasing your fire risk hazard way up there. So on my channel, I get asked a lot, like, will you cut acrylic on here? No, ma'am. No, sir. Okay. I am not interested in having a 4-letter word that starts with an F and ends with an E in my house. Okay. So I know that the diode lasers can cut some acrylics. I don't really like the quality of which they are able to cut them at. So when I have to cut acrylic, I'm just going to use my xTool P3 for that, because that is a CO2 laser and that can cut all acrylics. Now, my xTool P3 is huge. Okay, it fits my craft room, but it is huge. So if you're looking for a laser that can cut all acrylics, you're gonna be looking for a CO2 laser. The things that are a CO2 laser that xTool offers is gonna be the xTool P2, the P2S, and the P3, okay? Those 3 are gonna be the 3 machines that you're gonna be looking for that can cut all acrylics and cut it really, really good. The last thing that I wanted to talk about was going to be the base, because a lot of people are talking about this base. So this base is getting messed up and it's not getting cute. Let me show you. If you can see, we have some cut marks and stuff like that in here. And a lot of people are not loving the fact that this is happening to the base. Now for me, I'm not really too concerned about it, because I think that that's what it's supposed to end up doing. You should see all the bases for all the other xTool machines that I have. They all look like they've been used. In my opinion, that's how it's supposed to look. However, if you are really, really, really struggling with the lines that you don't want to mess up the base of your laser, that's fine. What I have heard people do is they lay down a sheet of foil down the bottom and then put their stuff on top. And when you cut, the laser will just hit the foil and then bounce back. It won't like go through and mess up your base. But to be honest with you, the way I see it is our bases are supposed to get messed up. It's like when we put tires on our cars and then we have to replace our tires eventually because we're driving on the road. You know what I mean? That's kind of my thought process. It's supposed to get dirty. It's supposed to get messed up. So for me, I'm like, I don't know. So yeah, if you want to put foil down, you totally can. I have known other people to do that. That's what other people suggest. I have never tried it because, again, I think it's supposed to happen. It's supposed to look like it's been used, you know? Oh, and one final thing that I'm just gonna add in here, and I know I said that there was 2 things that I wanted to say to you, but I just remember there's a third, okay? The xTool M2 is a laser. Hello, duh, that's what we've been talking about. But one thing is for certain here, okay? HTV generally, depending on the brand, I know the Caesar brand HTV, all of their HTV is laser safe and you can cut it with a laser, okay? However, vinyl, the sticky stuff, that sticky, you know, that you make stickers out of or you put on a car decal and stuff like that, most of them are not laser safe. I'm gonna repeat that. Vinyl that you put on like your lunch boxes, you make stickers out of, you make car decals, the stuff you put on that we used to put on the walls in the early 2000s, all of that stuff generally is not laser safe. Okay, so if you are new to laser ownership and you're just getting into this craft, when you are purchasing your materials specifically for a laser, most of the time, and all the materials that I buy will say laser safe. You want that, okay? Don't just willy-nilly and throw stuff into your laser. You know, when we cut vinyl that's not laser safe with any type of laser, it releases some sort of gas. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but it releases some sort of gas and it degrades your laser, but also it can hurt and harm you. I would never want that for anyone, okay? So always use our big, beautiful brain when we're buying new material. Make sure it says laser safe. There are vinyls, there are sticky vinyls that are laser safe. They're not as common right now, but just like with our craft industry and how it's always evolving, I bet eventually there will be some sort, like more selections of laser safe vinyl. But for the meantime, at the time of this recording, what I want you to do is always make sure that the material that you're cutting is laser safe. Now this machine, if you find laser safe vinyl, can cut the vinyl. It can cut HTV if it's laser safe. It can cut cardstock. Okay, it can cut glitter cardstock and plain cardstock, smooth cardstock, textured cardstock, really thick cardstock. If it's all laser safe, it can cut. Okay, so if you're thinking about wanting to print stickers, making sure that it's laser safe, then you can do it all in one machine. You have the laser head and then you also have the inkjet head, which again, therefore eliminates the Cricut. Because the Cricut, you would need a Cricut to cut the machine and then also a printer. So you have to have two machines. This just takes care of just one. So that's kind of where my idea of this being the death of a Cricut, the xTool M2 being the death of the Cricut, therefore stands in my opinion, because if you find laser safe material, which it's possible, right? You're gonna want to use this machine over this one. And it's 100% free for the software, which is not with the Cricut. The Cricut is not free, this one is free. And that's one of the selling points of all the xTools. So what I suggest for you to do, if you are debating on whether or not you should get this machine, what I always tell people is go look at the software. Get familiar with the software, and you can do that today before you ever purchase the machine. That's the coolest part. That's what I love. I'm like, great, go get yourself acquainted with the software. Figure out what buttons to press. I have a ton of tutorials here on my channel that walks you through from start to finish how to create the coolest things all within the xTool software. Okay, so I even help you learn this software. Yes, we do make some really cool stuff on all these different machines, but the great part here is that if you see a tutorial that I make something cool with that F2 UV over there, and you're like, oh, I don't have that, but I only have the M2, you can still make it. The settings are gonna be different for this machine as opposed to that one, but the software is all the same. This is why I just love that, okay? So hopefully I was able to clear up some confusion for everyone and my thought process between the difference between a Cricut Maker and the xTool M2. Now, if you have any other questions about this machine, I would love to answer them for you. So put them in the comments of this video so I can answer them. Also, no question is a dumb question. If you have a question, chances are somebody else has that same question. So what I'd love to do is just make sure that we have all our questions answered so we can make the best decisions on what you should purchase for your craft room, because we all work really hard for our money. And I just want to make sure that you get all the details before you go and purchase anything and then regret your purchase. All right, y'all, I sure hope I inspired you to create, and I'll see you next time.